Welcome to Odds.com's breakdown of UFC Fight Night 172 this Saturday, May 16th, live VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Jacksonville, Florida is where it all goes down, and we brought our best MMA analysts to the scene to find the angles to get you paid on Saturday night. We have Clint, the star of the Die Hard MMA podcast. We got Boston Nick in the house, and we got Big Mo from Mo Scream TV, and we're gonna get cracking right now. On this video, we're gonna break down the entire preliminary card, and we are starting with a heavyweight bout. 6'3" Brazilian Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira, 7-0-0, plus 100 was the opening line at Bet365, and it has stayed there. Going up against 6'6" American Dontel King Kong Mays, 6-3-0, open at minus 125, still at minus 125. Clint, the star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, find us a move. Is there a move on the first fight of the preliminary card?
What is up, Jimmy? You know, I love starting out with the big boys. We got heavyweights kicking the night off here, and I got to tell you, this is going to be a really, really interesting fight. So Nascimento is kicking his career off in the UFC here. It's his first fight. He's brand new to the organization, and Dontel Mays hasn't been around that long. He's been on Dana White's Contender Series twice, won both times, and then for whatever reason, God knows why, they brought him into the UFC, and he had to take on Cyril Gane, who's probably the biggest heavyweight prospect in the organization today. So completely kill off this poor kid that finally made it to the UFC. I know 7-0 looks a whole lot more impressive than 7-3, but this is a really tight fight. There's a reason that the line is set the way that it is. Nascimento is super strong in the clinch. He's surprisingly athletic for how big of a boy he is, and he's got a ton of submissions on his record. He's got some seriously intelligent and calculated ground and pound. If he gets you on your back, you are in trouble. Dontel Mays on the other side of this thing is bigger than Nascimento, so he's going to have a size advantage here. And they call him Kong for a reason. The dude hits hard. He's physically strong, incredibly durable. He moved out to Jackson's MMA, so I think we're going to see some big improvements from him. He's been working with guys like John Jones, who is the greatest of all time. He's going the right direction. He also digs deep. I mentioned he lost to Cyril Gane. He was in trouble in round one, man, and he dug really, really deep to make that a fight and came back in round two, and it wasn't until the end of round three when he finally got caught in a submission. He comes out, he has these big step-in elbows, he throws flying knees, just big, big, heavy bombs. Like I said, his name is Kong for a reason. I'm staying off of this one because, honestly, I just don't know that much about Nascimento. My gut tells me that if Dontel is athletic enough and strong enough to keep this thing standing, I think he gets it done. But there's no juice here, Jimmy. I like to roll the dice and play the juice or get that plus line on a dog when it comes to heavyweights. Plus 100 ain't enough here. I'm not doing it.
6'3" Brazilian Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira, lukewarm dog, plus 100. Boston Nick, we don't know a lot about this Brazilian. Is there a move to make for you on this fight?
I mean, from the little tape that I was able to find on, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, he loves the ground. I mean, he's got a lot of submissions on his record. His goal is to get you in the clinch, take it right down to the mat, beat you up a little bit, and slap some sort of submission on there. But like you said, Mays is coming from Bronx Hill, going over to he was at Bronx Hill MMA, going over to Jackson's now. They, haven't been breeding the best as of late, but they do have good coaching there. John Jones comes from there, like you said. I've noticed with Mays, he's a great counter puncher, very impressive 1-2 down the pipe for a big guy. Also for a big guy, he's got great kicks, great head kicks. He's very nimble. He also got some pretty strong leg kicks. One thing I don't like is he likes to spin around a lot. And if he spins around a little bit too much with Rodrigo, he might get taken down. And if he gets taken down to Matt, I mean, this is a heavyweight. He's going to be on top of him for a little bit. He might be able to take him out. Maybe Dontel gets up, being over at Jackson's and getting that elite training. But I do like Mays in this fight. The props have not came out yet, so I'm looking for a prop bet on this one.
And what would be the angle on the prop bet? What are you looking for?
I can get Mays by decision, I think. At a high over plus 300, I would take it. Plus 250 or higher, I would take it. As we saw Greg Hardy and De Castro go the distance. But I don't know. I have to look at. There's a few props I'm looking at.
What a snooze fest that fight was that went the distance
Right.
with Hardy. Big Mo. Big Mo. We got the big boy starting off the preliminary card. Rodrigo, Nascimento, Ferreira going up against King Kong. What are you thinking here?
I love what my comrades have said so far, Mr. Jimmy. I think as far as a betting wise, it's kind of a stay away. We don't really know what Mr. Rodrigo's bringing in. The little tape that I saw, he likes to come in real low volume, has knees up the middle. If he gets pressed against the cage, he doesn't dig for underhooks. That's a big thing for me. When you're pressed against the cage, you take this hand, you need to slide it under. That's how you get your back off the cage. He doesn't do that. But the more tape I watch, the reason I don't think that he wants to do it, just like Clint said, my man wants to be on the ground. He's a grappler, but not really the grappler that shoots singles and doubles. It's kind of like a body lock, or if you try to take him down, he has good hips. He's good. He's athletic for his size. A couple notes that I put, he is southpaw. Reason I put that, when you start having two low-level guys, you start mixing it up some, it could trick the other guy. Not really trick. He could throw something at him that he doesn't see. But then you go to Mays. Mays switches stances a lot, so he's going to be versatile on that. So that right there kind of X'd itself out. Mm-hmm. But one big one I did see, when he's getting body kicked, which Mr. Nick did say that he throws a lot of kicks. He parries a lot of kicks. As in parry, instead of just taking it, he takes his hand and he tries to swipe it away. And with doing that, you leave all. So to be here and to swipe it away, well, where's your hand? Here. Your hand's not here. So somebody that hits really hard, like a Maze or something, if he's coming in smart, if I've seen that, his coach has seen that. So look maybe for some kind of knockout off that parry. I like Maze in this fight. If we're going Rodrigo, I think the only path that we see Rodrigo is by submission. And then you go back, you talk about that Surreal Gon fight, heel hook. And Gon's not even a grappler. He's not a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He comes in, he's a striker, throws big bombs, and he got a sub. No,
he's a decent. I think it's a decent belt, right, Clint? I think Gon is.
I'm not sure what his belt level is, but of his 6 wins, 3 of those are by submission. He actually
when that monster gets a hold of you, though, he's gonna rip your limb off. So
yeah. But I'm pretty sure he's coming from a striking background that he got good at grappling. Like he's coming from, I don't remember exactly the organization name.
Same people that trained Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, boom. Like he comes from the same camp. So yeah, he's definitely got good grappling. But when you have somebody like Rodrigo that is born and bred, and that's what he does, he has 2 TKOs, 5 submissions. The only time that it's got out of the first round, it went to the second round, and he snatched the sub. So he likes the submission. So all I said in that is if he gets caught in that position, watch out. Rodrigo could sub him. But I think that Dontel's going to be able to stay away from that with his footwork. He switches orthodox to southpaw a lot. He might catch a KO, but I'm going to pick Dontel by decision.
Dontel by decision or Rodrigo, if you like him, by submission. Looks like the angles from our panel. That's the opener of the preliminary card. Let's move on to the next bout. Featherweight. 5'10" American Darren, the Damage Elkins, 25-8-0. Now, this is one of the few fights that's had a decent or legitimate market move. That means that Darren Elkins opened as a dog at plus 100 at Bet365, is now the favorite at minus 125. So not a huge move, but dog to favorite. 5'9" American Nate the Train Landwehr going up again, 13-3-0. Open as a favorite, not a plus 100 dog. Big Mo, let's start with you here on this featherweight bout. The Damage versus the Train. You got a move?
Man, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I haven't done a whole bunch of tape study on Landwehr. The little bit that I have, I mean, he comes forward. He vicious hooks, nice knees up the middle. He does get taken down, but he does seem to get up. Elkins is a straight up UFC vet dog. If there's a dog, it's hey, his nickname is the Damage. You know what I'm saying? My man has a horrible tattoo that says Damage that looks like it's engraved in his skin. I mean, my man is dedicated to the gimmick. You know what I'm saying? We know what he's going to do. He's going to walk forward. His single strikes landed per minute is 3.36. He absorbs 2.83. That kind of throws me off a little bit just because I envision Darren Elkins gets beat up and then he comes back. He gets the takedown. He averages 2.68 takedowns. He's going to walk forward. He takes shots and he goes for the takedown. He tries to grind it out against the cage. We got Landwehr. Like I said, I haven't done a whole bunch of tape study on Landwehr. He came out last time, got smoked by Burns, Gilbert Burns' little brother, Herbert. That's right. I said Herbert. He got beat by a guy named Herbert. You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. Herbert's really good, but his name is still Herb. But at the end of the day, I think my pick's going to go Elkins just because he's a vet. He started out as the dog. Money's coming in on him. So I think as far as the play, I would stay away as far as the betting line because I'm going Elkins, and Elkins is now the favorite. Maybe one of these two guys can put me on Mr. Landwehr. I'm not somebody that holds and I'm like, hey, this is it. Please convince me otherwise. But right now, my pick is Elkins to grind out a decision because that's what my man does. He has 12 decisions in his career. I see he's about to get 13.
Elkins by decision. Big Mo, do you think that money's coming on Elkins just from a vividness bias, just because people know Elkins and they don't know Landwehr?
Elkins has been around for a while. I think maybe people are seeing what I'm seeing is Elkins he's a vet. Landwehr, he has one fight in the UFC. He used to fight M1. He's had some competition. M1 has good competition, but they're not quite up to the UFC level. He came out, didn't look the best against Burns. I just think something that he does a lot, he likes to throw the knee up the middle to try to catch somebody shooting in. And somebody tough like Elkins, I could see him going for that single and eating that knee, but still holding on to that leg and still getting a takedown and just getting, a takedown around, something like that, holding him against the cage time. I think that's going to be enough for them judges to be like, boom, Darren Elkins decision.
Boston Nick, our man Big Mo like an Elkins by decision. What are you thinking here?
I'm a little bit flip-floppy in this one. Darren Elkins, he's Darren Elkins. He embraces the war. He just really does. In his fights, I mean, to go to a decision, even if they do go to decision, it's a bloody mess.
Something that we have to say, my bad, Nick, I don't mean to interrupt you just before I forget. I have a little bit of CTE, so I do tend to forget sometimes. He has a lot of scar tissue. So we're going to see Elkins bleed, and that is something you have to put in consideration for the judges. He has a lot of scar tissue. You blowing him. My nephew open hand slaps him. He's probably going to bleed.
Mm-hmm. And I was getting to that. He's got a lot of scar tissue, and he bleeds easily. Nate, the same. Not when it comes to bleed easy, but he embraces the war. And he comes from a gym, which is predominantly a jiu-jitsu gym, and he doesn't have a single submission on his record, which is kind of weird. He might have left that gym recently, but that's where his entire career was. I don't know. Herbert Burns did beat
Herb.
Yep, he did beat him, but he didn't look bad before that knee. He really didn't. He had him on the fence. He was landing some shots, and all of a sudden he tried to exit the clinch, and Herbert threw that gangster knee and just knocked him out. I think the amount of damage though that Elkins has taken in the past is what we're going to see. Like you said, we're going to see a lot of blood. We're going to see the judges probably, if it does go to decision, probably judging these strikes and the amount of blood that Elkins is leaking from his face. It's a tough fight to judge. I really do want to take Nate here. What are the odds at, Jimmy, right now?
Right now, you can get Nate the Train at plus 100. He did open as the favorite.
Yeah, I really think these Dana White contender series and these new fighters coming up are really starting to take over talent-wise and whatnot. And I really think that Herbert Burns fight, we didn't get to see the Nate that we should have saw. I like Nate. Would you say plus what?
Plus 100.
I'll take it.
Wow, all right. Two different sides of the fence so far. Clint, take us home.
Jimmy, we're going to see that a lot tonight. Bring your quarters, boys, because we're going to be flipping coins all night.
Yeah.
Last week, we had some serious favorites. We had some big favorites, some consensus picks. This week, you're going to be able to make a convincing argument for both sides of every single fight on this card. It's going to be a bloodbath from a betting perspective. You could go on a 7-2 streak and walk out of here with tons of money. You could also go 0-9. This is that kind of fight night, man. So on this particular fight,
8-3 last week, by the way.
Beautiful. Speaking of which, props to the whole roundtable. As a group, as a unit, we crushed UFC 249.
We nailed some shit.
Oh, I killed it.
So I'm with my boy Nick here, leaning towards Nate Landwehr. I did a whole lot of research. I really like Nate Landwehr leading up to the Herbert Burns.
How's he beating Darren?
So here's the thing. Darren is damaged goods.
There we go.
The damage.
I like the
the damage has reached the. I'm making Jimmy sick over there.
End of his career.
This man has taken such a beating in his last 3 fights. Now, he is the owner of one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Back in 2017, when he fought Mirsad Bektik, who was a young, up-and-coming prospect that everyone was saying was going to be a title challenger, the game plan that Darren had coming into that fight was let him wear himself out by hitting you in the face. So he took 2.5 rounds of punishment, and Mirsad literally got tired from beating this man to a bloody pulp, and he was able to land a head kick to knock him out at the end of the 3rd round. I mean, his whole game plan is wade in face first, take all the damage, and then try and dish out more back. And it's not up to him.
Yeah, his nickname's the Damage not because he gives damage, Mo. It's because he takes damage.
Because he wears.
Hey, but he's that grinder, guys. That's what y'all are understanding.
But he's not durable enough to grind anymore.
You're 1,000% correct.
He's not durable enough to grind anymore. And I think that this is a showcase spot for Nate. Again, this line is way too close. I can't trust him. I'm not going to bet it. But if you made me take a side, I'm going to side with Nate here. I think he got caught by Herbert out of nowhere. That knee that Herb threw
out of nowhere.
Has never been something he's ever done in his mixed martial arts career. If you watch all the tape on him, all the stats, and everything he's ever done, a flying knee like that against the cage, never something he has ever done. It came out of left field, and nobody saw it coming. The other concern is, honestly, I think Landwehr might be a bit of a USADA victim. The dude fought overseas in smaller organizations that don't have as strict of drug testing. And if he was on something like EPO, which you might recognize from like TJ Dillashaw, for instance, those guys that just get rocked and keep coming and never stop, and they have gas tanks for days, that's EPO. That's what EPO does to you. So if he comes over to the UFC and it's his first time trying to sneak by the USADA doctors, he may have downed the dose just a little bit. If he's got his doctor on point, if he's back, I think he's going to be able to dish out more punishment than Darren can take. He's so good in scrambles. He gets taken down constantly, but he always finds a way to get back to his feet. And that wears out the wrestler. You think the wrestler is going to be the one wearing you out, taking you down over and over again. But when the wrestler can't manage to keep you on the floor and just has to keep trying because that's all they've got, you end up getting disheartened. You get tired. You end up on the back foot. And let's just say this. Elkins got hurt by Ryan freaking Hall in his last fight. Ryan Hall's
a ninja.
He's a ninja, but he doesn't hurt anybody with punches. He got rocked by a punch from Ryan Hall. That's the end of your career right there, folks.
Hey, guys, y'all remember last week when y'all firing at me and I was slipping them punches on that Bryce Mitchell? Y'all remember that, huh?
Whatever you took down.
Remember that?
I'm man enough to say I was 1,000% wrong on Doug Nash.
Landwehr's going down, son. He can't.
I think you were 1,000% wrong on Bryce Mitchell.
Russia.
Realize what he was.
He can't hit that juicy juice no more.
Got my boy Rosa, and that. Come on now, that was impressive.
Here's my thing, Mo. If Nate Landwehr goes down, that's fine with me. Because I'm going to look at a total. They're not out yet, so I can't make this bet yet, but the under is money in this fight, I think. Because Darren has no chin anymore. Nate Landwehr is going to press the action. Darren and Nate only know one direction, and that's forward. Both these guys do not stop. They try to crush their opponent, and they're just going to clash in the center of this thing. Someone's going to sleep in the first round. I would probably hit an under 1.5, as long as it's not juiced too hard, Jimmy.
Add that to my ticket too, Jimmy.
I like it. I like it. All right, let's move towards the women's flyweight bout. 5'7" American Courtney, cast iron Casey. -160, but the record they show on UFC.com, 8-7-0. Going up against 5'6" Italian Romero Borella. Open at +130, still at +130. We have an American who's just a fight over 500 as a huge favorite. Boston Nick, take us home.
I mean, Borella's what, 12-7. She's 5'6". She is the true 125-pounder in this fight, and that's the only thing that worries me. Not to mention Casey has 0 takedown defense. But with Casey, she has zero fight IQ as well. So that's the problem here. I do not like Borella as a person. I'll make that a statement. But I don't like Courtney Casey's takedown defense. She's a great striker. She's a better striker 100% in this fight. But I don't think she's going to be able to not be able to be taken down by Borella at least once or twice around. Once around, she's on top. She's probably going to get grind out top control each time she gets that takedown. Kind of like what happened with the Carla Esparza fight and the Karate Hottie. Carla won that fight, rightfully so. She really did. But that being said, I believe that top control when it comes to the wrestling, it's going to pay dividends. And I do, I have to say, I do like Barela here. What can I get Barela at right now?
Borella is a +130 dog at Bet365.
Lock me in.
All right. We've got a dog on the board. Legitimate dog here. Romero Borella at +130. Big Mo.
3 times fast, huh?
Big Mo. What do you think here on this women's flyweight bout? Where's the angle? How do we get paid?
I'm kind of back and forth on this one as well. At first, when I first saw it, I was on Borella because of the takedown defense. Casey, she seems to go to her back because she's comfortable on her back. She's good at throwing up arm bars. In the guard, Casey's good. You get her outside of that, her jiu-jitsu's not that good. She's tall, got them lanky legs. In her guard, she can be nasty. If she avoids the guard, goes to half guard, maybe transitions to side control, you can be safe in those two positions. Casey's not a big scrambler as far as in those positions. Then you go to Borella. One, she's not a good person, but you got to take that out of it. We're just going off of skill set. She's a grappler. She's going to come in. She likes body lock. She likes to hold people against the cage. She's not, I mean, she shoots singles and doubles, but let's check some numbers. So she's got 3 KOs, 4 subs, 5 decisions, significant strikes landed per minute. So the ones that matter, 2.61. She absorbs 2.60. So she about gives what she takes at a very low volume. Then you go to Casey, a lot higher volume, 4.80 strikes landed per minute, and she absorbs 4.73. So about the same, gives what she takes, but at a lot higher volume.
What's the reach?
I think Casey has a little bit.
Casey's at 67.
Borella's got a 2-inch advantage.
Okay, 2-inch reach advantage. Okay. Borella has a very nice cross down the middle. She fires it like a piston down the middle, but she doesn't strike like to where Casey will throw a 3-punch combo, a 4-punch combo or something. But what Casey does is, I think the fights that she wins, for instance, versus Hill, total strikes, she threw 234 strikes. Significant strikes were 232. A lot of judges don't really know what they're doing in this sport, Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? They're watching it and they're boxing instead of grappling, all the other things. Casey likes to throw a jab out a lot, and she just throws a lot of stuff. You'll see her it's like she's shadow boxing at the air. And I guess some judges, if they touch her, they count it. So that's the only thing that kind of worries me about Casey is if she can put that volume on her. She can
mess her percentages up, though.
What's that?
It's going to those strikes she's trying to throw in the air. That's going to mess up her percentages. Those are counted as
thrown. It just depends on the judge. You know what I'm saying? Judges don't look at numbers. Judges only see what they see. They don't get to see the strikes. They just go off what they see. You know what I'm saying?
We saw the robberies last week.
Yeah, so I mean they'll get you that way. So a lot of times it perceives that she's doing a lot. In reality, she's not. But the judges, I'm just saying you got to be careful. I'm going with Nick. My pick is Borella for the grappling. I think she can get her down at least once a round. Casey's not real good at scrambling to her feet because she's comfortable in her guard, so she's going to try to throw up arm bars. You got to watch out. Maybe Casey by submission, Casey by decision if you're going by with Casey, because I could see Borella playing in her guard because she thinks she's good at jiu-jitsu, and Borella doesn't have high fight IQ, so she could get an arm bar snatched up on her. Or
Casey has no jiu-jitsu, though.
Yeah, I mean, like in her guard she does. So if you get outside her guard, she's not good at sweeping. She's not good at that stuff. As far as arm bars, triangles, she has decent jiu-jitsu that way. But my pick is Barela because I think she's going to be able to have top pressure, top control, avoid those positions, that one position that Casey's decent at on the ground. And I see her Jimmy, boring fight. Boring fight it's going to be. See her pressing her up against the cage, not a lot of action, Barela decision.
Borella decision, which will pay nicely because you get plus 130 just on the victory. We have Boston Nick and Big Mo on the dog here in this bout. Clint, what do you think about our boys on the dog?
Jimmy, I love them taking the shot on the dog, but I'm going to save us a little bit of time here. We shouldn't give any time or effort to this fight. It's going to be garbage. It's going to be boring to watch. Both of these women are 1-3 in their last 4. They're barely hanging on to the UFC positions that they have. Casey's coming up a weight class, so that bothers me a little bit. I think they're right. I think Borella will be able to get the takedown and use it, and that extra size is going to play to her advantage. However, we see some people really get a serious pop coming up a weight class. They're not cutting as much weight. They're not draining themselves as much. They've got more energy, and Borella gasses out. That's the biggest thing. Mara Borella's gas tank is garbage. So if Courtney Casey having that higher work rate is going to be able to, make her struggle to get the takedown at least, give her a little bit of pushback, and then on the feet, box her up more, have more output, it's going to wear Borella out, and she could steal a decision here. This is a garbage fight. I don't see an angle on it, and honestly, if you're going to go get a beer, now's the time to do it when these fights are rolling on Saturday.
Clint, what do you think about no distance at minus 170?
I don't even see the point, Nick. No distance?
No, I mean, I'm sorry. Fight going to decision on 170 for a parlay piece.
I wouldn't parlay it. So, Courtney Casey pretty much always goes to decision. Most fights in women's MMA go the distance. But that's where, like I said, Borella, she just falls apart, man. In the third round, she got KO'd by Lauren Murphy. She managed to land a choke a couple of fights ago. Like, these women can finish, and both of them have big enough holes in their game to finish. I'm not risking my money. It's such a bad spot. It's just such a bad fight that it could go either way, and I'm not going to be surprised.
Nick, you were telling us that the Romero Borella, she got popped for H. I love those stories, man.
Oh man, she can't go to Italy for 26 years, I believe, because she was distributing products that she shouldn't have. Let's just say that. And I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate any type of that crap. I've been sober since 2011, clean, and I had a brother that passed away to that, and I shouldn't even be betting her. You know what? I'm going to take my bet away because I don't respect her enough to put money on her.
You know what, though, Nick? Let me tell you, from a betting perspective, take any angle you can get. And sometimes the worst people make the best fighters because they don't care. They're looking to kill. Look at Greg freaking Hardy. He's coming along. That is a polished bird right there. He's shining like a diamond now.
All right, you talk me back into it. Yeah, Hardy's.
Hey, Hardy did some terrible, god-awful stuff, but I have no problem making money on him. Give me the window.
Yep. You know what? I'll take that money and I'll donate it. How's that sound? I'm going to take that money and donate that to some sort of foundation.
There you go.
I like the sound of that. Let's move on to the featherweight bout. 6-foot American Mike Beast Boy Davis. 8-2-0. Opened at minus 220, a big favorite against 6-foot Georgian, and that's not the state in America. Giga Chikadze.
Hey, nailed it. Give this man a round of applause.
I can't say that.
I almost put that up. So, plus 180. Giga plus 180. Clint, let's start with you. Does this plus 180 dog Giga have a shot here?
Oh, Jimmy, this fight interests me so much. I was grinding hard on this one, and unfortunately, it's gonna take a little bit more work for me. So, Mike Davis, he was a high school wrestling standout, got into MMA straight after that, so he didn't have like a college run or anything like that. But this guy is powerful. He's athletic. He's strong. He's got incredible hips, and he's got big power and sharp boxing with his hands. He's got excellent timing, good head movement, and one thing that I love to see is his vision is on point. When his opponents come in with attacks, he sees them coming a mile away. He can feint, he can slip, he can parry. This kid has got it, and he had a Contender Series fight, I want to say, where he actually ended up losing it, but it was to Sadiq Youssef, I want to say, right? He was super impressive in that fight. That's one of those ones where Dana White could have brought both those boys straight into the UFC, even coming off of a loss. He is willing to get into a technical brawl, though, and that's the thing that's kind of concerning to me. He does keep his hands a little bit low. He's got a nice step-in elbow. He lands with big uppercuts, and recently he's been training at HET and Tiger Muay Thai, two of the best gyms you can get for MMA. So I'm expecting big things from Mike Davis, and that really upset me because I wanted to bet Giga here. I really did. Giga had a kickboxing run prior to coming into the UFC. He had 38 kickboxing wins, 2 world titles. He's also a European Muay Thai champion. This guy is a striker like nothing else. He is awesome. He has very intelligent defense. His defensive grappling is coming a long way. He has an excellent explosive buck and roll to get people off of him when he is on the mat. He can pull reversals, and he does a good job of forcing his opponents to stay at kickboxing range. He's training with Marvin Vettori, who's fighting later on the card, Benil Dariush. He's at a very good gym. The only problem with Giga is that he gasses out, and that's the reason I can't take him here as a dog. Mike Davis is hittable up the middle. He's got really good protection on the sides. He keeps a high guard up here. If you're coming from either side, you ain't getting through. He's got arms that are probably the size of my torso. But right up the center, you can pop this dude in the nose. And Giga is really light on his feet. He's got kind of a karate stance, and he has this leap-in jab that comes straight down the middle. And I think Davis is going to struggle with that. The other thing is the kicking game of Giga. I think that Mike Davis is going to struggle with the calf kicks. This is going to get really hairy, Jimmy. If you lay that minus 200 on Mike Davis, you might end up cashing that bet, but you're going to be biting your nails the whole way. And Giga may look like a perfect underdog, but if he doesn't get Mike Davis out of there early, he's going to run out of gas at the end of the second round, and then a guy like Mike Davis is going to bludgeon him. So I got to take a pass here, but I am loving this fight. It's going to be highly entertaining to watch.
Big Mo, we got a big dog here at plus 180. What's your move?
I think he's live. Jimmy. Just like a lot of what Mr. Clintus Maximus is what I like to call him says, super technical. And when you start talking technical, when you have a high guard like this, front kicks up the middle too. He throws a lot of kicks, a lot of teeps, a lot of straights, a lot of jabs, crosses down the middle. He could bust Mike Davis' nose.
Yep.
Get it messy early. You know what I'm saying? Get him panicking. Start putting Davis where he's not comfortable. But Davis will swing back. He bangs. My question is to the other two guys. What's Mike Davis's wrestling looking like? Is there a good chance he's going to come in and try to take Giga down?
I think so. He tried to wrestle with Sadiq Youssef, and he couldn't get it done because Sadiq is so damn strong. But I don't think that Giga has the same level of takedown defense. He can stay safe once it hits the mat, but I think he's going to have a shot here to get it to the mat.
Emmers took him down 2 of 6 times. Emmers was kind of when I watched tape for that, I thought Emmers was going to come in, be a lot more grappling heavy. He did get him down 2 times. I think if Mike Davis, being the stronger guy, big ground and pound, if he can get him down 2 of the 6 times, I think he's going to do big damage. Also, Giga does gas out. So Mike Davis is a savage. He's going to sense that. He's going to come on strong, try to finish him. So bet-wise, I could see Mike Davis, 3rd round, something like that, get a TKO on him. My pick is Davis as far as a dog, DraftKings, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be mad putting a bet on Giga just because he is a super live dog. He comes crisp, clean, big head kicks, straights down the middle. I think all down the middle is going to be the key on this for Giga and avoiding the takedown. If he can do that, I could see him going to decision. I don't see him really finishing Mike Davis. Maybe if he can bank 2 rounds, third round he gasses, Davis comes on, swamps him 10-8, maybe some kind of draw, something like that. Just kind of thinking in my head as we're rolling. So y'all see my dog over there. But she's chilling now. You see her over there now. But the pick is Davis.
Boston Nick, what's the plan here?
I had the pleasure of sitting down and doing an in-person, not just a fight companion with him, but just a breakdown of his life and everything with the fight analyst. Actually, we did it at Packy's down the street at a local pub, and that guy has never been in a street fight in his entire life, but he's a freaking killer in the cage, and that just blew my mind. Never, and once in high school, he wrestled and all that stuff. Never got in a street fight, straight A's.
Davis?
Huh?
Davis?
Yeah, Mike Davis. Yeah, Mike Davis. In regards to his wrestling, it's on point. He's told me stories of him grappling with Burns at another gym. He's told me stories of him and Jotko, who's a 185er, okay, going toe-to-toe, okay. That man right there, he fights at 155 and 145. And we got to remember, this fight is down at 145. He's going to be the bigger guy by far, okay. So that being said, I think his striking is on a different level. It's MMA striking, and I think it's on a different level. And then he's going to mix in with those takedowns. I believe he's going to get this decision win, or he's going to finish it in the second or third. I see Mike landing some sort of big punch and then taking it to the ground, maybe slapping on a submission. I mean, he's dangerous everywhere. I'm telling you, that kid is going to be a huge prospect here in the near future. I promise you that.
How are you going to handle it? Are you going to try to get a better number than minus 220 by specifying?
Yeah, I want to wait for the props to come up. I want to see what the decision prop is, and I want to see what the inside the distance prop is. I might take the inside the distance prop on Mike Davis, but I'm definitely going to parlay Mike Davis with something as well.
All right, we got a parlay piece, and from our other analysts, a possible live dog. But Clint's not going to pull the trigger on Giga. Mo, after all of this, we're going to move on to this next middleweight bout. But after hearing it, thinking about it, breaking it down, are you going to make a move on the dog, or are you going to stay with Mikey Davis?
I'll probably stick with Mike Davis, especially after what Nick said about the grappling, because that's how I could see him. If he comes in, smart, fight IQ comes in, goes after the takedown, chain grapples, Giga gets tired by striking. So you start mixing grappling in there, he's really going to get tired. And when you
Giga does not tire out. Not Giga. I'm talking about Davis. He does not tire out from
Davis never slows down.
Yeah, so
fucking throttle. Excuse my language.
Yeah, with Nick saying that, I'm gonna go strong. Well, Giga must be a real pretty decent dog for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what? On second thought, everybody run go bet Giga real quick for me so I can get Mike Davis at minus 150, please.
Please. You know what? We should. Never mind.
No, bad idea. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, no bias on Mike Davis here at all, just because I did an interview with them. I mean, the guy had earrings.
I like facts.
No, he's completely legit. There's no bias there. That kid is legit.
Real quick, he had earrings in both ears, and they were those drop-down earrings with crosses. When he came to the interview, looking all slick and stuff. He pointed out my camera. He goes, "You're gonna need a mic." I go, "I don't got a mic." He goes, "Oh shit." He's a funny kid because he's been interviewed before. It was my first ever interview.
I think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mike Davis, let's get this done.
Let's move on to this middleweight bout. 6-foot American Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, 7-1-0. Open at plus 100. It is now a pick'em. This is at bet 365. Open at plus 100. Now it's a minus 110 pick'em. Either way, you can have Fluffy, or you can have 6'3" American Kevin Trailblazer Holland. Open at minus 125. Now minus 110. Let's go back to Big Mo. Fluffy Trailblazer. What's your move?
First off, my man's name's Fluffy. Can we get this dude a new nickname, please? But
a little fluffy in the sides. That's all.
I like it. Yeah, Nick over there. He comes in throwing big wild stuff. Doesn't go for a whole lot of takedowns as far as singles, doubles, likes to press people against the cage, maybe get some trip takedowns. He has a nasty submission game. Let me check some stats here. His takedown defense is 86%. He strikes at 2.78 strikes per minute and absorbs 2.94. So about gives what he takes. Let's see here. Park. I saw one. Okay, yeah. He got 6 of 9 takedowns against Park. So if he can come in and if he works his grappling game against Holland, Holland does like to go to his back some. I know I preach that a lot. He does like when you have somebody that thinks that they're good off their back, they'll kind of go to the ground a little bit easier than somebody that's more of a wrestler that doesn't want to be on the ground. Holland he does a lot of spinning stuff, real wild stuff, strikes at a pretty decent strikes per minute. He strikes at 4.11, absorbs 3.45. So he's putting out more volume, has a little bit better defense, doesn't take as much damage as somebody like a Hernandez that takes what he gives. I think right here, I think this is going to end up on the mat. And with it ended up on the mat, I think Hernandez is going to have a little bit better jiu-jitsu. And I think that Hernandez is going to snatch up something like a head and arm choke, maybe late second round, something like that. Holland likes to play around a lot. He likes to talk a lot, play around, finds himself in bad positions. Against his last fight was against Brendan Allen, lost second round sub. Brendan Allen came in, took him down, subbed him.
Hernandez beat Brendan Allen.
That?
And Hernandez beat Brendan Allen easily.
Yeah. So that you can't really do MMA math like that, but in that kind of sense, you kind of can to a point. It all depends on the day. It all depends on the adrenaline dump coming in, the camp, who, you got your grappling in, you got your cardio in. So with that, what Nick just said, I see a head and arm choke late second round for the man they call Fluffy.
Fluffy, who's taking money.
Fluffster.
Nick, you were popping in here with some ideas for Fluffy. How are you banging this bout out?
All right, so we got a classic Contender Series matchup. Both these guys are coming from the Contender Series. Holland, another fighter, like Mo, you said, he likes to accept, being off his back and whatnot, and that's not good. One thing that I want to get at is they did throw this guy to the wolves his first fight. I think was it Thiago Santos, his first fight in the UFC? Clint?
He signed up for it, Nick. They needed a fill-in, and he raised his hand and was like, me.
You're right. He did sign that dotted line.
And nobody gets out alive with Thiago Santos.
No, you're right. He managed to go all three with them, though, right? So, but he lost.
Thiago's a black belt on the mat and one of the hardest hitters in the division.
Exactly.
He's moved up to 205 since and almost knocked John Jones dead. Holland took everything he had.
Very true. Very true. He went unanimously. He won unanimously. After that, he's rallied, 3 wins, beating John Phillips. Nothing to talk too much about, who's 1 of 4 in the UFC. And then he's won a split decision with Gerald Mearshart. And then he beat Alessio Di Chirico, who's nothing to write home about as well. Since then, let's see here. He's lost 2 straight choked by Brendan Allen, right? In the second?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So I think the grappling here is what's going to be the difference in this fight. I do believe that Hernandez, and not to mention Holland weighed in at 183.5 in his last fight. I don't know why. He's the bigger guy. He's got 81-inch reach. I mean, to a 75-inch reach.
He's just tall and lanky.
You're right. I don't see him as a big prospect anymore. I did coming into the UFC. I know he did, fare well against Thiago Santos, but I do like Fluffy Hernandez here. But right now, what is it? Pick him?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to take Fluffy here at the -106 that I think I see him at. Is that what it is? Just basically?
Yeah.
I'm going with Fluffy here, -106. I mean, he did just beat in his debut, lost a crafty Marcus Perez, but I think he's a prodigy. I think he needs a couple more fights, and he'll be something to talk about. He did just beat Young Park after that. So, yeah, I'm going to go with, and not to mention, Brendan Allen, who Holland obviously lost to. So I'm going to go with Fluffy here at the -106.
Clint, we got a good old-fashioned pick 'em. You making a move?
Jimmy, I'm very, very close to locking in a play on Kevin Holland.
I knew it.
I think that this kid's
over there where you were going.
I think this kid's untapped potential. He reminds me so much of both John Jones and Israel Adesanya with that long, lanky body type. He is so
You just
big.
talking about looks, Clint.
Don't go there, Mo. Don't do that.
I'm just saying, bro. He does not fight like no John Jones, bro.
No, he doesn't fight like him, but I'm talking about the body type, man. That height and reach advantage, that's a cheat code. That is not something that you can train. He has a 6-inch reach advantage on his opponent here, man. He's gonna be able to hit Fluffy where Fluffy has no chance of getting back to him. Holland is still coming along. That's the thing here. He's 27 years old, and he's getting better. Brendan Allen is an absolute wizard on the mat. I know that, and MMA math doesn't work. You can't say that just because Fluffy had a good enough style to beat Brendan Allen that Holland won't be able to. Holland is a BJJ brown belt. He's improving himself. He was able to go a full 15 minutes with Thiago Santos, which is not a lot. There's not a lot of people in the world that can say that. And Thiago Santos, he took that fight on like 2 days' notice. It was so short notice.
Yeah, I don't mean, but like,
who took it for both
sides too?
Holland took it on short notice.
Yeah, that works for both sides too, though. As far as Thiago might not have been, he might have been in shape.
True.
But he wasn't training. Like a lot of that training, when you don't train for somebody's style and they come in and you're a big name, you don't really know how they're fighting. So you're just going to fight smart, and you're just
supposed to fight, Clint, you know.
That's true, but when you've got a title contender like Thiago, a kid that's coming off the Contender Series, he's supposed to be walking in the bottom level of the UFC. You should be putting that kid away, and he couldn't. And that, to me, that speaks volumes as to what Holland is capable of.
Does him not playing around a lot, does that not worry you that he's going to come in there playing around, dropping his hands?
The fight IQ concerns
me. Wild something, or get caught playing around, being on his back, thinking he's Nick or Nate Diaz, trying to flip him off or playing around, something like that. That's what draws me off of Holland, because
if you watch his fights with Gerald Meerschaert and Alessio Di Chirico, he's not so much playing off of his back. He's sweeping, he's reversing, he's attacking, he's getting back up to his feet. I think he is growing out of that. He did have some poor fight IQ when he first came onto the UFC, but like I said, I believe he's getting reined in. I think this is a young kid that is improving, and especially one of my favorite angles, when you've got a young prospect that takes a loss, they come back better. He got choked out by Brendan Allen. He made some mistakes. He got out grappled in front of everybody. I think he's going to come back better and stronger here. And I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I've heard a lot of people talking about Fluffy. I am hoping I can get legitimate dog-ons on Kevin Holland. I think that just his physical differences here are going to be a problem. On top of that, I'm not big on Ji Young Park. So I know that Hernandez is a decent fighter, but I'm not impressed at all with the guy that he was able to beat. And then he lost to Marcus Perez, who he's not bad. He's a mid-tier fighter. So I feel like Fluffy belongs kind of in the middle of the road. And I think Holland has a long way that he can go up. So if you're giving me a slight dog or a pick 'em price on a kid like Holland, I might have to take that shot. I'm not there yet, but that's definitely the side that I lean. And if I get dog money, I might be locking that one in a little further on in the week.
Here's my thing, just to end my portion, is kind of what threw me off. You just said GM3. I wanted to bring this up. GM3 took my man down 12 times out of 24 attempts. So if Fluffy ends up even with half of those 6, I think he's going to be able to slice his way. Fluffy has a pretty good submission game. And, I mean, that went to a decision. Let's see here. Total, he threw 152 shots. 54 of them were significant. Holland, that is. GM threw 88. Only 20 of them were significant. So that's where he messed up right there, or GM3 would have won that decision with those 12 takedowns. You know, I just think he flops back and rolls with it. So, not to mention the better striker between GM3 and Fluffy is completely Fluffy. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Tough one though. That's why it's a
Gerald Meerschaert's made leaps and bounds improvements in his game, man. I am very impressed with GM3 as of late. I think that's another, just the fact that he went to a split with it at his age, with his experience level, winning or losing that split, he fought well and closely with a guy that's very, very talented and on the upswing right now.
Woo!
Different sides of the fence there. Trailblazer, Fluffy. And if money keeps coming in on Fluffy, Clint will get his plus sign. Besides,
Hey, Jimmy, you know what I call that?
what do you call that?
Trap.
So, hey, I tried to be cute, but it didn't work. Let me try it again. Hey, Jimmy, you know what I call that?
What do you call that?
Shots fired.
Shots fired, son.
Sounded like some sort of a porn flick.
Hey, I had my safari up, my bad.
Some sort of a fuck fest. Is what
Hey, when I
heard.
was talking about that 6-inch reach advantage, there was a dick joke in there somewhere, but I stayed off it. I stayed off it.
Clint, Camel Thunder up against the immortal Matt Brown. This is the main event on the preliminary card. You got to look.
Yeah, man, this is another tough one. So Matt Brown is dangerous. Of his 22 wins, he's got 14 knockouts. And what really happened to him towards the end of his career is his durability just fell off, man. He was fighting way too often. He got in some serious wars, and it was damaging his body. He wasn't able to keep it up. He lost his love for training, and he had to hang it up. He ends up taking a year or two off, felt that burn again, came back, and he is mean, and his body appears to have healed. He's well enough to fight at this point, and if he doesn't go down to every body shot you throw, he's a legitimate problem. He's got really tight boxing. He's very, very crisp and accurate with his punches. He's got excellent submission defense. He is powerful. He can knock you out with any limb he throws. Knee, head kick, punches, elbows. He can cave your skull in from anywhere. He likes to use the front kick, the teep, to keep the distance. If he gets you on the mat, he's got serious ground and pound. And he, like I said, man, if he was 5 years younger and a little more durable, he'd be a serious issue. This Miguel kid, though, he's a hot prospect. He rips head kicks. I mean, just without warning whatsoever. He is so fast. One thing that I'm not a fan of, though, is that he throws big single shots. He doesn't set them up. He just wades in and expects to land the one big bomb that's going to hurt you. He also has some serious heavy ground and pound. And the thing I don't like about Miguel is that he allows his opponents to take the center of the cage. He fights moving backwards. And if you have a close competitive fight, the judges tend to lean with the guy moving forward. So not something I like to see. He also drops his hands. He's very open to counters. And so far, his chin is held up. But that's not going to always work. One of these days, somebody's going to make him pay for that if he doesn't patch that hole up. He's got big, big clinch knees. And he had his last fight, he actually TKO'd his opponent with calf kicks, which is something I love to see. That's very high-level striking, very intelligent.
Hector Aldana.
Yeah, Hector Aldana, thank you. Jimmy, I don't know what to do here. My gut is telling me to take the dog because, let's face it always does. But I think this is a spot where I've got to calm myself down and pass. This might be just a passing of the torch type of fight. The amount of power that Miguel brings with his kicks, leg, body, and head, I think if Matt doesn't finish him early, he's going to get KO'd in this one.
I'm going to convince you, Clint. I'm going to convince you.
Let's hear it, Nick.
All right, so Matt Brown, Matt the Immortal Brown, as we all know, is 39 years old, 39 and a half, okay? And at the tail end of his career, a legend in his own right. He's going to be one of my favorite fighters, top 15 fighters of all time, has to be. I mean, his last two fights against former UFC studs, Ben Saunders and touch butt Diego Sanchez. So after that, before that, he was 1-5, and that one win came by guillotine with 16 seconds into the first round at Tim Means. So anything could have happened if that didn't happen. He could have been 0-5 before those two horrible wins with Ben Saunders, Kiloby, and touch butt. But that being said, I mean, like you said, Baeza is a prospect. He throws heavy. You know, I love this 1-2 right down the middle, honestly. And he's got heavy leg kicks. That's his key to victory right here, is just chopping the tree down like he did with Hector Aldana. I know the price tag right now is like right around minus 189 or whatnot, but I do believe this newcomer and this over the hill Matt Brown, it's gonna be Baeza all day, minus 189 parlayable.
Baeza all day, says Boston Nick. Big Mo, Baeza Brown.
Clintus, let me explain to you too. So just let me help you out. You got to break it down. We're playing chess, not checkers. All right. So what does Matt the Immortal Brown struggle with? Body kicks, right?
Body shots, man. Body kicks.
And especially rear leg body kicks. Boom.
Yeah.
So, and not only does he struggle from that, he gets in his mind about it. You know what I'm saying? He gets hit, and then that's all he can think about, and that's all he worries about. And then that opens other things up.
Yeah.
And that's what Baeza does. Like Baeza has just like you said, I don't need to break down a lot because y'all just broke it down about everything I need to say. Rear kicks, any type of kick, head kick, body kick, rear kick. Just like Clint said, he does throw an overhand, but he kind of sticks to it. That's the only thing I'm a little worried about. Matt Brown, he's been around a long time. He can, if he can find some way to maybe slip that one big overhand and land something, I think that's Matt Brown's shot.
That's what concerns me.
Yeah, outside that, I see him chopping those legs of Brown, throwing big ones up the middle. And even if Brown's blocking them, I think it's going to get in his head, and he's going to start keeping his elbow right by his side. And I can see a big head kick KO for Baeza.
And Brown Brown would have to knock him out, Baez out early, because if he starts like we saw with Justin Gaethje chopping Tony Ferguson's legs down, if we see him trying to chop his legs down just like that, he's not gonna be able to plant off his feet and hurt Baez, just like Tony Ferguson wasn't able to hurt him after the second round.
Yeah.
So, I think a little bit
and
going
if I see that on that, then that means Baeza camp sees it. Now, if him to get in there and to perform that and to do that, that's totally different. You got adrenaline dumps, you got stuff going. But if he goes in and starts whipping kicks to the body and just kind of like not even trying to finish him, throwing them, let's say he spends the first round lighting up that body with that. That's if I was coaching, that's what I would be like, hey, man, go up there, keep a high guard, come in there, throw big round kicks to the body, and then get him thinking about it, come out second round, throw 2 or 3, and then start chambering him to the head because his elbow is going to be here, and he's just so worried about that because – and a reason is
he's been hurt on the body a lot, hasn't he?
What – didn't he have like a heroin overdose or something or a car wreck or something?
That's what led him to MMA. I think that's how he cleaned his life up. Is he's one of these guys that OD'd and died and got brought back and had a second shot at life because of it.
Yeah,
he's lived a hard life, man.
Did something happen to where like Cerrone had a motorcycle accident? That's why he's weak to the body because he has like 6.
Oh yeah,
intestines out.
He has some intestines not there, I think. Or no,
yes, he has something like physically wrong with him with his stomach. That's why it gets to him mentally. So you start firing those, and he has hard kicks, just like Nick said, Clint said, finished Aldana with leg kicks.
Yep.
So I'm going Baeza late second round. If it gets to the third round, it does. But I think the finish is head kick by Baeza.
Baeza, head kick. There is your full preliminary card, UFC Fight Night 172. Let's go around the horn very quickly for a preliminary card best bet. We have 6 fights on this preliminary card. We have Rodrigo, Nascimento, Ferreira versus Dontel, King Kong Mays. That's plus 100 for Ferreira, minus 125 for King Kong. We have the featherweight bout 5'10" American Darren the Damage Elkins, minus 125 up against American Nate the Train Landwehr. We have a women's flyweight bout, Courtney Cast Iron Casey at minus 160 up against Romero Barela. We have a featherweight bout, American Mike Beast Boy Davis up against Giga Chikadze. And then we have 6-foot American Anthony Fluffy Hernandez up against Kevin Trailblazer Holland. And then we have the main event on the preliminary card, Matt Brown versus Miguel Baeza. Let's go with Clint. Is there one bet on this preliminary card you like the best?
Yeah, I mean, the one that's really jumping out to me is I'm going to look at that total for Darren Elkins and Nate Landwehr. I'm praying they're dumb enough to give me a 2.5. It's probably going to be a 1.5, but if they give me a 2.5, I'm going to smash it. And then I like those 2 favorites we talked about. I like Mike Davis and I like Miguel. I'm not sure if I can make them a best bet at this point because, like I said, I am a little scared of the dogs that they're facing, but I do think they both get it done.
Boston Nick, you have a best bet on this preliminary card?
Yep, I'm going to lay a big boy bet on Mike Davis, and I think I might also parlay Mike Davis with Baeza.
All right. I like that. Big Mo, close it out with you. You got a best bet on this preliminary card?
Man, I'm going to go Baeza for finish late second round. But I also think you can lock in because a lot of women's fights go to decision, man. I think you can lock in Casey Borella decision.
I love it. Love it. big thanks to our guys, our MMA analysts, our panel. Big thanks to you guys. Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA contest. Big Mo from Mo Scream TV in Boston. Nick, a.k.a. Mr. Fat Fist, finding you the best angles for UFC Fight Night 172. Follow us on odds.com. Follow us on Twitter, odds110. And check us out here, breaking down every fight on our YouTube page, Odds HQ, Odds Headquarters. But most importantly, you guys, take what you've learned here and get fucking paid on Saturday night. Get fucking paid on Saturday night. Get that cash on Saturday night. And thank you so much for watching.